Greetings, YouTube! Danny Staten here on the Daily Damn Blog! I'm back with another comic book review, and today I'm taking a look at Kolchak versus Frankenstein. Kolchak the Night Stalker from the 1970s TV series will be going one-on-one with the Frankenstein monster. At least that's what I thought when I bought this comic book, but apparently it's going a different direction. It's actually reminiscent of a TV show featuring the Winchesters hunting monsters called Supernatural, where they go after the descendants of Frankenstein. Hey, Dave, would you call that the good stuff? I don't know. Let's check it out and find out if Kolchak versus the Frankenstein agenda, boy, I missed that part when I bought it, is actually good. But I've been waiting years to do this book. I've had this book for, I guess, 3 or 4 years. It's been hanging on my wall. It's one of the few hanging on the wall that I hadn't got to. I kind of didn't want to open it because I didn't want to be disappointed. You know, I'm so often disappointed by modern comic books. And this one's a modern comic book. The Frankenstein Agenda. Kolchak versus the Frankenstein Agenda. Number 3 from 2007. Oh, boy. Here we go. We get the usual inside front cover with the people we can probably blame for the comic book we're about to see. Actually, I think we might like this one a little better than usual. I'm going to love it because it's got my favorite character in it, Carl Kolchak. I used to love the Night Stalker TV series back in the 70s. I actually have to say, it was my favorite TV show of all time. And we open it up with Carl Kolchak swamping through the swamps. That's right, being attacked by the hounds of the Baskervilles in this opening panel that has no clue what's going on whatsoever, right? Okay, you got to remember that this comic book is picking up with part 3. Kolchak's already on the case. Kolchak's already investigating body parts missing. Kolchak's found himself in the swamps on this investigation. Things are already happening. So in full panels brought to you by the Daily Damn Blog, I guess I picked a good issue because action happens immediately. As Kolchak is attacked by the guard dog, suddenly out of nowhere, a huge creature. I hope this isn't the Frankenstein monster now. Oh my God, he looked like Swamp Thing. Anyway, the Swamp Thing Frankenstein monster saves Kolchak from the hounds of the Baskervilles. And some little chick hollers, "Stop!" And I want to point out something. Whoever drew this comic book in 2007 ought to get the Golden Pen Award, in my opinion, because they did a marvelous job on drawing up the art in this comic book. And it's not all shiny, and it's not all glossy for a 2007 comic book. I feel like I'm crawling up in a comic book from the 60s or the 70s. I am mesmerized by the art and the look of this comic book. One of the biggest thumbs up I've ever gave a comic book as the Swamp Thing Frankenstein rips the dogs the little pieces. I hate to see dogs get hurt. The chick and Kolchak are fleeing. Whoa, man, I never seen nothing like this. Well, actually, Kolchak, you have. Anyway, suddenly out of nowhere, the Wendigo appears. That's right, what? Wendigo? Well, a Wendigo-looking demon-y creature, but Swamp Thing Frankenstein's on the case as he attacks the Wendigo-looking thing. Kolchak and the heroine take off and run like a hurricane's coming. So we find ourselves getting away to the local police station, where Carl Kolchak is trying to explain to Sheriff Eric Freeman. Wah, wah, wah. That's right, he's trying to explain to old Sheriff Eric Freeman that some evil scientist has used a process of mutation in order trying to create the perfect astronaut to... Anyway, there's this evil scientist named Frankenstein. He's using a process of genetic mutation to create the perfect astronaut, and some of his experiments have went wrong, as this chick's telling everybody, but the sheriff's not buying it. Carl calls up Vincenzo to call in the story, to give him the report. Vincenzo's doing his usual, Carl, you're supposed to be doing a political article. What are you doing chasing Frankenstein? What are you doing chasing monsters? Carl's totally ignoring him, checking out the TV, going through some magazines, checking out A comb, hopefully, because Carl isn't looking too well kept today. If you're interested, you can see my other Carl Kolchak comic book reviews. It was the first time I'd encountered Moonstone Comics. Moonstone Comics ain't well known for having commercials in them, so I won't be taking a lot of breaks until I do shout-outs. But I wanted to show you the other comic books I've already reviewed, and next year, Kolchak will get around to facing Sherlock Holmes. I'm going to save that for next year, next Halloween. So in full panels, brought to you by the Daily Damn Blog, Kolchak seeks the help of the one man with all the wisdom to help him solve this genetic nightmare. Kolchak seeks out the one and only young Dr. Wu. That's right, he's headed for Robert T. Wood right there, boy. Dr. Wu's on the case. Dr. Wu's going to help Kolchak. Dr. Wu's going to help Kolchak sneak into the military research facility. So as Dr. Wu does his usual job of distracting the sentries, Carl Kolchak, the Night Stalker, takes a sneak into the military laboratory in search of the genetic scientist, in search of the story. That's right. Kolchak quickly gets caught, because he always gets caught. As he's walked down a long hole, Kolchak ponders whether he made the right decision or not. Check out the key card as we enter the genetic laboratory and see the modern-day Frankenstein monster, surrounded by his mutants, surrounded by his creations. He is the modern-day Frankenstein. Does anybody else get excited when they realize that the Frankenstein genetic project is part of the military-industrial complex, owned, operated, and ran by the United States? It's probably the same place they keep the alien bodies, the Bigfoot, and the lizard people in cages, right? Anyway, Kolchak's been in custody. Kolchak's not having it. Kolchak pulls a power move as things go very wrong. Leave it to Kolchak to show up when the mutants go on revolt and start attacking their masters. A battle ensues. Kolchak, what? Hope that's not a self-destruct button right there, buddy. Oh my God, he's going to push the button. Are we really going to push a button that destroys everything? Really? 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 I already know what's going to happen. I read it earlier. Kolchak shakes. Kolchak hesitates. But he can't stop. Kolchak clicks the button as Franken creature grabs him on the ass. Oh, blink, blink, blink. So in full panels, brought to you by the Daily Damn Blog, Kolchak pushes the button, and the creatures' heads explode. The creatures go down in a horrible pile of decaying flesh. It's your fault, Dr. Frankenstein. This experiment went wrong. I love the art in this comic book. Do you love the art in this comic book? As Frankenstein's pathetic creature lays on the floor smoking. Now would be a great time to tell everybody be sure to check out Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. His new book, Book 2's out. If you want some real monster encounters and some true stories, be sure to check out my main man, Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. And be sure to check out my partner in crime, Thrash, Pondo Ponds, here on YouTube. You can see us every other week in our little show, Thrash and Pond. Thrash and Dan Save the World. And that show was out this Sunday past, and you can check that out. You'll find it on my channel, his channel, and my Fluxera's channel. Our incredible producer who does a great job. Love that girl. Be sure to check out Dave Sunstorm and his incredible brother Steven Sunstorm. You know, the Good Stuff Brothers. The Good Stuff Brothers here on YouTube. And Pat McCormick at the Golden Ranger TV, bringing us incredible conversations with incredible stars of the past. Oh, and let me do the other shout-outs while I focus in on my man Kolchak, the Night Stalker, in what I hope becomes the thumbnail for this video as we check out my other friends, BK on the Air, Big Guys 45s, Corey's Comedy Channel. My flock is everywhere. We love that girl. The Nostalgic Pod, Blast, my friend Chance down in Georgia. Retro Nerd Girl, Brain Benders, Banners, Chrissy, AAP, Homestead, AAP, for life. The Unapologetic Geek and Harold the Hatter. Normally I'd give a shout out right here to Gypsy Road, but apparently, like everything else, Gypsy Road, Matt Troy, MJ Wrestling all have vanished from YouTube. But for different reasons than some people. Oh, that's right, I shouldn't even say that in this video about the channels on YouTube going down like the monsters in this long comic book I've been reading. That's right, I like these Moonstone comic books. They're really cool. The art in these books are really great, and they have that old school comic book look to them that I really like. I have to admit, it's hard to criticize a book this cool when it's the Night Stalker, something I love. The art looks great, something I love. It's made old school, something I love. Top 10 comic books I've ever opened in my life for them reasons, I guess. Kolchak talks it over with the Colonel. The Colonel says Frankenstein escaped during the chaos. Frankenstein's gone, Kolchak, get out! So like the end of every Kolchak story, they do kind of end a little crappily, but Kolchak's on the plane. He's making his little tape recorder of what happened. He's telling the story. The Frankenstein scientist escapes. All the creations in the lab are dead. And so ends episode 3 of The Night Stalker. Story, not the best story in the world. I will say that. But everything else was great, right? And then we get some Michael Marone reading Welcome to My World. Bye. You read all about Welcome to My World in the Land of the Crusaders. That's right. And you can read it if you want to. I'm not going to read this. I've read enough for one day. And then we get a commercial. That's right. We get a commercial. A sneak peek, a preview for Templar, the Twilight Crusades. Oh, my God, what a horrible title. And it's heaven versus hell. And they want to bring down some angels to fight them demons in the Twilight Crusade. And look, we're even going to get a few panels to show you what the story would be like, where angels ride the bus in search of demons. A full panel look when angel track down the demon, take out the demon, rip out the demon's heart, leave the demon laying on the side of the road right there. Boy, that comic book looks like it's really gonna beep. I think I'll be avoiding Twilight Crusade. 5 books, one messed up world. And then we get the commercial for the Kolchak Casebook. God, this is exciting. 16 issues of Kolchak Casebook that are out there that I don't have. I want them so bad. I want them so bad. I want them so bad. I can't wait. I'm going to seek them out. I'm going to find them. I'm going to buy them. One day, I'm going to review them. Ah! The naked artist, what? I'll probably avoid that one too. Last time I put something naked up, I got a copyright strike. I like the way the Moonstone puts all the commercials in the back of their book. They don't bog you down with commercials while you're trying to look through the comic. And we get the Phantom Chronicles coming in the summer of 2007. The first Phantom anthology. I missed this. I like the Phantom, so if I see this, I might pick it up. And Doc Savage, the man of bronze, he come back, he did a return, and they had some new Doc Savage comics coming out in 2007. I guess Moonstone had some really cool comics back in the day. You know, I have to say I want every Kolchak comic book ever created. I only have like 4 or 5, and they're really hard to find, especially if you can't do the ordering stuff off of the internet thing. So that's kind of a bummer. But I do want Kolchak versus Cthulhu, boy. That's Lovecraft horror meets Carl Kolchak. Good God, what a great comic book. And these Moonstone titles might wet your whistle, as you got some Sherlock Holmes, Lou Wayne, Kolchak the Night Stalker, the Mummy, the Cisco Kid. Oh my God, Cisco Kid, and whatever that thing on the end down there is. Yeah, I think I saw that TV show. So ends my incredibly cool look at The Night Stalker meets Frankenstein with look at the back cover of this book. This has got to be one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Hey, guess what? I got a bunch of these Buckaroo Banzai comics. One day, probably in January or February, I'm going to try to get the Buckaroo Banzai. That's a sneak peek right there, buddy. Thanks for joining me for Kolchak versus Frankenstein. No, it's the Kolchak Tales meets the Frankenstein Agenda, number 3 from 2007. Not too great story, but some incredibly great art. Moonstone Comics outdo themselves with their art and their old 60s and 70s comic book appearance. I love this book with all my heart. I really do. I think it's great, and the cover looks great on the wall. That's where I had it hanging, and it's going to go right back up there as soon as I get done with these other 3 I reviewed. And here's a sneak peek for next year. It's Kolchak meets Sherlock Holmes, the only Kolchak book I haven't reviewed. I was going to review it last year, but then I got these and went crazy and did them all at once. So check them out. And until next time, this is Danny Staten for me and all my cool friends. Be sure to like, subscribe, ring the bell. Be sure to check everybody out. And until next time, blog over, dudes. Blog over.